Next elimination match in the Douyu Cup playoffs. In the top right-hand side to start us off is the red Protoss player, Zest. Taking on the blue Terran player in the bottom left-hand side, INnoVation. These two really need no introduction. They've played each other many a time. A series which always provides fun games, as INnoVation will start off with some aggression. First SCV already coming across the map, and he's been playing a bit more aggressive TvP lately. Lots of proxies, and not just proxy racks, but like proxying factories and stuff too. Last time these two played, Zest 3-0'd INnoVation in the WardiTV Spring Championship. That was after INnoVation had won in their previous 3 meetings. And they played each other a lot. In 2020 already, they've played each other 10, 15, 20 times. It's ridiculous how much they've played each other, in fact. So, should be a fun one, of course. If you enjoy the games, if you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to hit that hit that like button, sorry. And don't forget to subscribe. You guys know it. You guys know the drill. I know you all know. As we get ourselves going into this with a proxied racks. Like I said, there's been proxying more than just the racks lately, though. And this is going to be a factory to set up as the next step. So a factory coming down. And the barracks is starting a tech lab. So the funny thing here is when you look at Zest's vision, of course, he's scouting. He's like, well, there's no racks. And now he's like, there's no factory. So Zest has to imagine something is up. What could this be? Tech Lab, I mean, Cyclone early in the game. It could be Marauder concussive shells into Cyclone as well. That combo is one we haven't seen for a while, but can be very powerful. A really strong way to open up in a game, especially when it's unexpected. Could just be Marauders and Widow Mines. He actually starts up a second rack, so completely all in here. INnoVation. Okay, I think with the Tech Lab on the factory, we are very likely to see this turn into a... We're very likely to see this turn into a Cyclone or so. And to turn into like double Marauder production and Cyclones, and just... That combination can be super, super scary. That combination can be super, super scary. Shield battery on the front of the natural. Adapt. Going to get the Marine in the end. The Marine will go down. I like the Adept being a little bit aggressive, but what I don't like is that Zest was already losing his first Stalker across the map. That doesn't bode well for him in the slightest. Now the shield battery is actually taking a lot of hits. He's going to lose the shield battery, guys. Wow, the Stalker goes down. The shield battery wasn't in time, and now he's going to lose these probes. You know what comes after the probes? Yeah, those shield batteries, and that's why they get cancelled here. He knows it. He knows the issue for sure. Tank is going to siege up. This pylon goes down. It wasn't a Cyclone in the end, so it was just a siege tank. I won't lie, I'm not surprised by that. I was just kind of expecting it to be the Cyclone. I've seen the Cyclone a lot in the past. You know, that Marauder, you know, you slow down, so the lock-on, you can't run away from the lock-on. That combination is very powerful. Immortal grabs a Marauder on the ramp, though, and INnoVation was not expecting that, getting too aggressive, and suddenly he is on the run. Well, tank siege, and just going to be seeing the Stalker and the Immortal out down the bottom right side. So moving along. More Marauders in production. The Immortal is such a hard counter to it, of course, though, with the bonus damage to Armored. Whoa, whoa, whoa. INnoVation, you got to do something about this siege tank, buddy. What's he going to do about this in general, even? This is kind of a tough scenario. Another Marauder's going to show up. Well, now they're on top of the Immortal. They might actually just be able to outnumber it. Okay, Immortal goes down, and Zest has maybe overstayed his welcome. Was he even ever welcome here? Not really. Walked into enemy territory. And INnoVation is able to get a bit of a cleanup as INnoVation... I gotta say, the Tank Marauder army just feels so... It just looks so clunky and slow, you know? Clunky and slow, but moving up to the top right where there are a few Stalkers, there's another Immortal. And these two tanks are going to go down so quickly, though. The damage that Immortal puts out on these units is just crazy. 3 Marauders. The new Immortal popping out is the issue for sure. This tank has to put in some work right now. There's just not enough for INnoVation, is there? I think Zest has to clean up on this. I think he's got it. Not quite. Wow. I'm completely wrong. This game is actually just... it's wild. There's no real way of knowing what's coming next, right? These are just fights you never really see. Marauders in a tank against Immortals and Stalkers. Theoretically, there's units on each side which counter the others, right? Like, it's a little bit wild. All right, Marauders are going to finish off this Nexus. I mean, that's a win. Well, not just yet. The Immortal makes a play down the ramp. Double tank siege, though. I gotta say, that's been one of the issues for INnoVation. He's never really been sieged while fighting these Immortals. Being sieged up obviously changes things quite significantly as the Nexus on the natural goes down. 2 more Marauders just building up here. Going to go up the right-hand side. Marauders and tanks all joined up. I do like, though, if you can hold this ramp, but then that's what the Warp Prism's going to be for. The next step to actually get out of your base while these tanks are still sieged. Work counts even-ish. Army supply in favor of INnoVation, but I do still like the army quality of Zest and what he's getting. I'd like to see a Rax maybe even floating over. Is that what this Rax is for? I think this Rax is to float for high ground vision. And then you get high ground vision, you can pick away at these structures. Definitely would make some sense. These Immortals. Again, taking this fight away from the siege position and intercept and reinforcements is 10 out of 10 play. There's no answer to the Prism. See, so, you know, going back to what I said about the Cyclones, this is why maybe the Cyclones would have been great, because I feel like against this kind of army, the Cyclones do so much better because they have so much more mobility, right? So in that regard, I'm kind of... I kind of do stand by what I initially said about the Cyclones and stuff. These Immortals are going to drop in. Marauders target them down pretty quickly. Stalkers are the targets of the tanks, as we do see INnoVation. Is he holding on? The Immortal micro is pristine on the Warp Prism. And those Immortals are surviving on such low health to be a good cleanup. And that's enough for Zest to take game number 1 in the end. Sick Prism players. You always expect out of Zest. And he goes up 1-0 in the best of 5. At home. It was well played by Zest. He really kind of, you know, shoehorned INnoVation into being, you know, completely all in, having no real follow-up plan, having no real backup. As Zest takes the first game in this best of 5. And our final Terran of the tournament, INnoVation, is looking to save us from ZVZ, ZVP, and PvP. But a loss like that is not going to be the way to do it. Down by 1, but INnoVation, of course, can absolutely come back from that. Do not count him out. Probe on the way down the bottom side, passing through a few of these speedy zones. Death Ore, nice large map. And obviously INnoVation already building his barracks in the main base really says already, hey, you know what? I'm not going to go super crazy this time around. Not going to be aggressive. Rax Gas will look for the command center in the near future after the Reaper in the orbital, of course. Just send one SCV to scout. He wants to make sure that Nexus is at regular time. You see a delayed Nexus, then you know, oh my god, you know, you've got a proxied gateway or a second gateway. And that's when you start panicking a little bit as the Terran player and needing to find a few solutions. The Adept just building up on the gateway. Gonna be in depth first. Obviously give you a bit of map control, get across the map, maybe put on a bit of pressure. It looks like INnoVation is going to bunker up for safety, so he will not run around silly trying to deal with that Adept too much. First the Adept can do is probably shade by and deny mining on the mineral line until a couple of extra Marines finish off the reactor, of course. INnoVation wastes no time at all taking gas number 2. So as he takes that second gas, already puts himself in a position where he can kind of go straight into that starport as well. And really just, hype up that aggression a little bit. Medevac, couple of Widow Mines. We've seen all that before. We know how that works. Those are the sort of things we're heading to right now. As this adaptive Zest continues down to the bottom. Show up and I wanted to go up the ramp. It doesn't in the end. Miriam the Reaper just going to sit here and fight, and this is obviously kind of what I said. You can deny mining here for like a few moments, but there's not really much else other than that you can do. From the Hellion. And I'll go across the map. The Adept actually was backing away. The Hellion Speedy Zone helps. Hellion catches it. Yeah, we'll actually catch this, and Adept, does get a shade out of there. So Adept gets out, and this time it should live, right? Shading through. I don't think you catch that in time. Okay. That's done. Grenade allows the Reaper and the Hellion to break through. The whole point of this is to try and scout, and he gets into the main. He should have been able to see that Twilight, and he has. That's the power of the Reaper Hellion. And that's exactly what you want to achieve with the Reaper Hellion as well. You can get a few probes, that's great. But obviously being able to actually full on scout like this is even better. And now you know about this Dark Shrine. Well, INnoVation already had himself covered. Going into that Raven. So Raven in the main base already building up here. The Warp Prism. Is that down to the bottom side? The pressure here, of course, expecting this to be an attempt to DT at the moment. I mean, the best thing you can do against a Raven is obviously go DT in the natural, DT in the main, and, Raven can't be in two places at once, but that's what the turret in the natural is for, and this is very, very safe. Absolutely no problem there. It's the Cyclone locked on. Prism. Taking a few shots of damage already. Access on the third. Let's see the Robo Bay setting up. Plus one attack upgrade on the Engineering Bay. Okay, well, yeah, Zest just says I'll go to 3 bases. My DTs did nothing. What I'm very surprised about is that because yes, not surprised, but because the Cyclone put so much damage on the Prism, Zest couldn't go for the follow-up Archon drop that you so often see, so he couldn't really keep the pressure up. And so I feel like INnoVation is really running into an amazing position in this game, right? He's really getting away with so much of this right now. Probes transferring. Between natural and third. Just getting that third setup as mentioned. Obviously wasn't the fastest third base ever from Zest, just because you go for those DTs, you generally don't go as fast into the third then as you do with Blink Stalkers. And don't know about Blink Stalkers, doesn't have Blink on the way yet. You'd imagine at some stage you had a Twilight Council, so Gateway units can support the Colossus a little bit more easily. Yeah, okay, I mean, not super surprising, I guess. A Stim Combat Shield setting up, a few Marines in the main, a lot of Marines in the main, actually. So a lot of Marines here at the moment. We do see the units of INnoVation up the right-hand side, Viking, Raven, and the Cyclone. Big push from Enno. Obviously, it lines up with all of his upgrades. It makes a lot of sense. He's on 5 racks. He's not going to take a third in this game. And that's going to be very, very late. So across the map we go. Off up to the top. Prism has the Archons that aren't in position at all. He sees no third base, and I think immediately he has Zest is like, okay, well, now you see the army with the hallucination as well. Zest totally knows what's going on right now. He knows what's coming his way. He knows what's about to happen. Stalkers here putting some damage onto the Raven. Marines splitting up. And here we go, pushing forward. Couple of tanks to come in with this as well. He drops an Interference Matrix. He doesn't even siege the tanks. Second Interference Matrix, and this is the entire army of Zest being chased down and denied. Archons in the Prism go down as well. Are you kidding me? Everything just died. And INnoVation is just going to storm that third base to take a game number 2 and to tie us up 1-1. Game 3. As in the top right-hand side, we start with the red Protoss player. This is Zest. Up against INnoVation. In a series so far, it's been full of a couple different things. It's been a fun one. Definitely a little bit different, something a little bit, spicing up a little bit. Would love to see Zest maybe go a little bit crazy here as well. We'll see what he pulls out. 1-1 tied up. Top 6 of the Douyu Cup right now, looking to make it to the top 4 if they can win this game. Well, not this game, but this series, right? You win this game, you win one more. As simple as that. There's going to be a gateway on the side of the main to get us started here. We'll see the barracks building in the main base from INnoVation as well. So a little bit of setup for the moment, as we do just see the refinery from INnoVation down in the main. So he'll go racks gas and go from there. Nothing really too crazy just yet, as this probe comes down to the low ground and is ready to get building to an expansion at some point. Although usually you do see cybercore before gates, so it's kind of weird that the probe goes down to the low ground to mine some minerals just to come back and return them to the main. I mean, there's a, you're on 16 out of 16 here, but 16 out of 16 actually isn't that bad to go 17 out of 16. You still get a little bit more mineral income, better than mining off the low ground. So in the end, Zest is going to go Nexus before the core. So maybe that was, maybe that was just his plan. He got a little bit messed up anyway. All good. We'll see the command center down pretty quickly as well, as the Reaper is already in production. So seeing that Reaper popping out in the next few moments, Zest continuing down to the bottom side with that probe and going by the female Karak as well. So he's actually bringing this probe all the way down into this is a proxy location for sure. So he's going to get a pylon going here in the next few moments, and we'll see what he wants to do, what he can try and line up on the back of this cybercore finishing. What do you really want to proxy? Well, down here definitely says to me something like a Stargate. Direct access toward the main base. It just, what else do you really hide? If you're going to hide a Twilight, you just... it's just a Stargate, right? I don't think Zest wants to go super 100% crazy and try and all in, especially off a gate expand. So yeah, it just seems like a Stargate as this Reaper comes across the map. There the Stargate is. Obviously, Warp Gate will come down after Stargate. There is one Stalker Chrono boosting out, so that will be there to help try deflect this Reaper, which is already moving up. Jumping into the main and seeing that those few structures are there. Now, it's kind of a fun one to proxy Stargate on because it's not super obvious where the second pylon may be. Some people like to hide the second pylon back here and build a Stargate here. Obviously, it could be up in the main, but then, of course, you've got this wall off to stop the Reaper getting in. So it's very hard for information to be picked up by INnoVation, which would lead him to that point of, oh, right, this is maybe what you're doing. I can figure out you're going proxy Stargate or so. Because that Stargate's going to finish, so it should just be an Oracle on the way out to begin with here, and the Reaper from INnoVation all the way down the bottom side is actually on a little bit of a scout. He has started off by just building a Hellion so that Reaper Hellion combo can get some scouting done, and INnoVation does see the Stargate. Wow, so he gets to see the Stargate pretty much straight away, as we do have the two Stalkers of Zest just patrolling out the front still. Oracle building. Okay, well, that's massive, because now you can really kind of refine your build order to something that just really does counter the Stargate. Instantly goes into a Viking off the starport. You've got a Widow Mine to help zone initially. That builds nice and quickly, way faster than having to rely on a Cyclone or anything. And this is a fantastic start, as we'll see the Reaper and the Hellion just sat outside the front of the Natural. Here we go, Oracle about to make its way into the main base. Okay, it's going to sit tight for the moment. The two Stalkers are able to push that Reaper Hellion combo back. So, Reaper Hellion gets pushed back. As mentioned, the Viking's still building up off that starport, and nothing else off the Stargate. This should be a fairly unsuccessful Oracle, really. We've got that Widow Mine as well in the mineral line. Yeah, for the moment, the Oracle does just sit tight and doesn't do much at all. A Cyclone to follow up. And that definitely gives INnoVation some potential to push back across the map as well. Once you've dealt with this Oracle or so, there's going to be a limited kind of set of what's up. And that's an Oracle flying into the Widow Mine. Okay, this is great for INnoVation. What a start. Who now? Liberator and Cyclone on the way. Can he make something of a push across the map to punish an early third base like what Zest is going into? Zest follows up with that blink on the Twilight Council. We do see two more Warp Gates without a morph in, an extra Stalker warping in as well, so building that count up. Obviously, he knows about this Stargate, so he's actually going to pick away at this pylon, which he can do safely because nothing's really on the map. I like this a lot for INnoVation. Definitely feels like he's got potential to go across the map and to get something done in all of this. So I like where he's at for now. We'll see what he can turn this into as these Stalkers will make their way down. There's a Woodermine that gets caught. This Hellion goes down too. Of course, when it comes to information, INnoVation, he doesn't see much else, but he already knew about the Stargate, only one Oracle, so he knows the follow-up tech is already there. Now you see the amount of Stalkers. I think INnoVation can definitely figure out that this is Blink, as he will start up a third CC behind this. So he gets that third base going. He'll start up his extra racks now, so very quick third CC, and not going to be focusing on anything such as the, you know, faster stim or faster combat shield or anything. So it looks like INnoVation just going to sit back at home. Happy with where he's at, happy with what's going on for the moment. We do see the Liberator will turn up, and at the same time, this Reaper hops in, by the way. He's going to go, and, I mean, there's definitely probes he can pick away at in the natural as the Lib goes into the main. Drops a grenade, the Stalkers deal with it, but then the Liberator shows up, so now Zest probably has to turn back around to come deal with this Liberator as multiple probes are starting to drop. Stalkers continuing up to the top side. The Forge is about to complete from Zest in the natural expansion too, so you'll get that finish in just a moment. Liberator gets sieged up so he doesn't get F2'd back home or anything by mistake. I'm still just seeing this probe hanging out on the watchtower. There's a few more Marines, the siege tanks all setting up at the front. There's going to be 2 more racks. Building in the main, so that's going to be 5 racks in total. The third CC. Just going to be finishing, ready to move out soon. I mean, INnoVation's obviously already in position to defend the third location, hence the siege tanks being out the front here. And all of that good stuff is +1 attack, armor, stim pack, combat shields, all the good stuff continuing into play. There's our orbital making its way across. And Zest will continue out and down to the bottom of the map right here. So here we go. Stalkers going to go for the push. Now, tank, Marine, Cyclone. All set up quite nicely for the moment as Zest shows up over here. A little bit of a siege tank shot, pushes those Stalkers back immediately. And, okay, I mean, some shields for the Cyclone. The Cyclone's not the worst thing to be losing as INnoVation. The Cyclone obviously doesn't really add too much at this stage. It's already filled its role of it was meant to defend against future Stargate units. There wasn't any. Yeah, I feel like that's not a bad loss for INnoVation. Now, if he starts losing the siege tank count, etc., then we're having a different discussion. And Zest just adds on 7 gates, Robo Bay and second facility, the +1 attack and forge, and charge, sorry. Really just ramping up into a lot of gate production, but to be backed up by Colossi as INnoVation. 64 SCVs in the game, all those upgrades about to finish, which I would imagine is just going to be INnoVation really setting up in a spot where you are... I mean, when these upgrades finish, it's going to be a powerful push, right? It's going to be pretty strong. It's going to have a little bit of oomph in it, for sure, as the Liberator's still there as well. I mean, that could join back up with the army if he doesn't find a chance to harass. If the army wants to push across, you know, that or it combos with the army, right? Because if these Stalkers eventually move away, that's going to be the Liberator's chance. This Marine has just walked straight into the natural and now up into the main. And INnoVation is going to see absolutely everything thanks to a Marine, so he knows exactly what's up. Zest is building into a Dark Shrine already as an army from INnoVation goes down. Ready for 2-2, so he's actually a little late on that armory. That's a bit of a shame. Here comes INnoVation's push. Bio upgrades done. I mean, it is coming at a time where Extended Thermal Lance would not necessarily be finished. The Stalkers continue across the map, though, from Zest, so INnoVation's army is going to skirt around the left-hand side. This Marine here actually sees a 4th base on the right, which for INnoVation would be pretty easy to push. The distance from his 3rd to that 4th base is actually pretty low. He loses his own command center, though. These Stalkers counterattacking, doing okay, but at the same time, Zest has to defend across the map still. So he has to find a way to figure that out as this Bio army moves up. The Vikings going to start firing. The Colossus already taking some hits. Marines getting through to the front as well. Super battery to bring the Colossus up to health. And INnoVation. Now, gotta be careful. That super battery is going to fade out. He will get the tanks up here, and they're going to be able to siege. I mean, I like what these tanks are going to be able to do. Can this Colossus save the day? Well, the Vikings are going to get the kill on it, so answer to that is no. New Colossus shows up, though. And there's another one that I think will get out of this Robo without being targeted down, but the... I mean, it's already that Colossus going down. And this one just gets deleted. Okay, well, this is disaster through and through. The Stalkers across the map just needed to be kind of intercepting this army, slowing it down, buying more time for Zest to get all of those Colossi out, joined up together. Having to fight it all little by little was absolutely not the way. And that's going to be GG for INnoVation to take it up to a 2-1 lead in this best-of-5 series in the Douyu Cup. And let's see if you can round this out going into a game number 4. Bottom left-hand side, our red Protoss player This is Zest. And in the top right, we do see the blue Terran player INnoVation. Right, this is the last time I'm going to press the button. You see, guys, there's like a bar. Building SCVs is like... Wait, the button doesn't do anything anymore. Oh, there it is. It doesn't do it when it's zoomed in. Oh, that's so weird. You see it, all the stuff, like, disappears? I know that doesn't seem like super... Now it doesn't work again. What's happening? There you go. You see I can make it all disappear, and I can make it come back? Yeah? That's what the magic button does. That's why I was really amazed about it. I know, that doesn't seem very amazing, but it's kind of useful. It's kind of useful. So I was just, like I said, I was just like, huh. Got myself all caught up. Alrighty, friends. That's going to be seeing the setup here. Okay, we're coming through, getting this going. Just going to slip probe down to the natural. Just going to build a nexus to begin with. So probe just going to go and actually hides behind the third base location, which suggests you want to do something over here, but what? Or you want to hide the probe moving across the map while the SCV scout comes in? Obviously this is a probe that comes down and is going to build the pylon. I mean, obviously there's just not really much reason for it to be there unless you're going to do something about it. Alright, command center on the natural. So we will get into a fast expansion from both. We do have the warp gate built on that cybernetics core. Zest goes into the Twilight Council, but when it's hidden away like this, you've got to imagine it's for something a little bit special. So I would kind of imagine a Dark Shrine or so, but then this probe moves away from the pylon. What's the point of hiding the Twilight Council if you're just going to go Dark Shrine in the natural? Well, it probably is then just Blink. Or maybe something really crazy like Charge, and you just want to keep INnoVation very in the dark. It is just going to be Blink. I guess it's just a Blink where he wants to keep INnoVation very much so afraid of what else might be happening. Definitely a possibility as the Stalker. Putting some pressure on, SCV Marines taking damage. The Widow Mine moving through will burrow up, and that will hold the high ground. Means the Stalker can't realistically do anything else. 2 gates into the Robo, so it's not like Zest wants to do anything super wild with this Blink either, right? It's not like a ton of gateways or anything like that. It's not looking to be 4 gates. Wow, this is there's going to be a fusion core, friends. INnoVation going to switch it up a little bit. He's going to go for the battle cruiser, huh? That or Liberator range on the worst map ever for Liberator range in existence. I'm pretty sure there are 0 Liberator range useful spots on this map. So that's going to be a battle cruiser in the next few moments from INnoVation. Setting us up into this game number 4. INnoVation leading 2-1, of course. The Blink on the way, and that Twilight Council going to be finishing up soon. The few extra Marines setting up, the extra Marines in production. And that bunker is going to be finishing from Inno out on the natural. So gets that bunker finished up. Battle cruiser still coming in. Tech lab on the factory. Simulator completes, and Zest can get to mining. He's going to be in your model cannon as well right from the start, so I guess we might even see multiple BCs. We've seen a few players that have played like BC openers, and that's a good hallucination scout to see everything that's going on. I mean, we've seen a few players play BCs lately, and we've seen some players play BCs into mech, some players play a couple BCs into bio. And they work really well because they can act as like, you know, basically like a permanent drop where they're always somewhere that you need to respond to. There's always somewhere you need to send some stalkers to. So it pulls a lot of units out of position while your main bio army moves elsewhere on the map and looks to overwhelm. Gates in the main as the BC teleports across. We're seeing a fourth gas. We might just see mech here from INnoVation. That's the continuation in this series. Going to be seeing this first Stalker has to blink back. Stalker's still putting some pressure onto this battlecruiser. Yeah, it's a good initial defense, but the BC, right, they just keep these Stalkers here. There's a lot of Stalkers on the map as well, but a tank and a bunk keep them safe. If there was high ground vision, maybe blink in the main. There's a decent amount of Marines, to be fair. Stalkers blink in, doesn't quite get the BC once again, so BC still pushed back. And still alive as well, which is important. Okay, there's the engineering base and there's the barracks. So the fork gases was actually just to keep on affording BCs while affording siege tank production, it seems. And obviously, I guess you want a little bit of a gas bank, because when these racks switch over to the tech labs, there's going to be an instant 200 gas sink, because you're instantly going to build stim pack and combat shield, right? So it kind of makes sense to get the 4 gases up. It definitely does, you know, 4 gas, you've always got to consider that possibility of, are we just about to see a ton of extra factories and just about to see some mech play? The starport is staying on the tech lab. Is the factory going to take that tech lab? The factory's going elsewhere. Okay, the factory is going to take the tech lab. I was going to say, I actually thought this reactor was going to take this tech lab. It doesn't matter if combat shield starts a little bit later than stim pack, because it's a faster upgrade than stim pack by about 20 seconds. So it would have actually lined up just fine anyway. Will also line up just fine as it's being done right now, as INnoVation makes a push to take the third base. Has to play pretty defensively for a few moments. INnoVation without the upgrades, it's difficult for him to really do anything else on the map, apart from perhaps teleporting the BCs across. And Zest just takes this as an opportunity to go mega tech mode. Double robo pumping out Colossi already. So Zest just takes all of his gases, takes the 4th base, knows INnoVation isn't coming anytime soon. And that's got to be a little bit of a concern for INnoVation right now. That's got to be a little bit concerning. Skate's all still setting up a couple extra refineries. INnoVation really playing very gas heavy, right? Straight to 6 gases, doesn't slow down on that in the slightest. But you might imagine him to slow it down a little bit at least. Hallucination up into the main. We do see, you know, starting to make a move out into the center. So now he's going to get those upgrades. And we've seen this kind of before in this series. As the Stalkers blink away, the Hallucination is on top of the medevac and hunting it down. I mean, you've got your mottos here. What do you use the mottos on? Just double Colossus? Okay, just doubles one on the same Colossus. So Colossus just gets deleted at the start of this fight. Man, this is a terrifying army from INnoVation. Pulls the SCVs as well, fully committed. There was no armory. He was setting up for this for a while. The tanks are going to siege. And these SCVs get in the front of the tank, and we do see the tanks get some good shots initially onto the Colossus. There's not enough bio left over on the ground. The BCs are still full of health. I feel like that's terrifying. Oh, but he needs to scan. He needs to scan. There's a DT here. Oh, INnoVation. He's got no energy. He can't scan. He can't deal with the Dark Templar. But Zest can't deal with the battle cruisers. Hunts down the Colossus. Oh, the rest of this army will start moving in. There was the scan in the end. Bio gonna come through, and that's gonna be a hunt. I mean, everything dies apart from the 2 Colossi. INnoVation just desperately in need of more scans, basically. If he has scans, if he has detection, he can deal with this with ease. The BCs as well, actually, just straight up. There's just not really much to deal with them. I mean, all the Stalkers just went down. Now a few more Stalkers just got walked in. He will not save that battlecruiser, though. Problem is, you've got 2 Colossi that are kind of stuck in a corner. They can't get out. There's just no way out of this. Shame to lose that BC a few moments before your motto as well. That could have been another delete on one of these Colossi. INnoVation's killed 25 probes. Zest has that 4th base mining. We mentioned it a little bit earlier. Is there a scan for DTs? There will be a scan. He loses the tanks, though, and he morphs the Arc on Zest. There's the Yamato on the Colossus. Spio's going to chase in. Oh, there was a shield battery left alive over here, so INnoVation will not get the Colossus kill super quickly. And I think Zest is going to hold on. INnoVation doesn't have enough reinforcements. Wow, what a hold from Zest. What a hold from Zest. This was not an easy defense in the slightest. In GG is called. Zest is going to take a 2-2 tied up series here against Inno. We go to final map is going to be Ice and Chrome. This is how we wrap up the series in the top right hand side. The red Protoss player from Raise Your Edge. This is Zest. Taking on INnoVation, our blue Terran in the bottom left from Kaizi Gaming. Okay, so better TvP is the SCV of INnoVation going to move out up onto the map. Reaper from INnoVation building up here. Nexus is coming through. Cybercore on the way. And we get ourselves settled down for hopefully an awesome fifth and final game. It's been a pretty aggressive series, right? We've not really seen a game get beyond, or much beyond, the 10-minute marker. Lots of early attacks, then attacks that are either all in or game deciding, basically. Takes that watchtower pylon over to the left side. Cybercore going to finish in the main base as our Nexus on the natural expansion continuing through, and in the SCV just come down to the low ground here. Reaper going across to see what's up, of course, trying to figure out what's happening in the early stages. Grenade. A couple probes going to get blasted back, and Stalker will just be able to chase that Reaper away. This probe started off with a proxied Stargaze. Again, all the way back. Not going to go home just yet, afraid of the Reaper. Of course, if you reveal that probe, then you also kind of reveal that maybe something's out on the map. Might not matter anyway as INnoVation. He's checking, but does he go to the watchtower? He does not go to the watchtower, huh? He doesn't see this at all. Alright, well, Reaper just out down the bottom. There's the Oracle coming through. Warpgate's about halfway done. A couple of extra Marines all building out, and a couple of them starting to jump into that bunker. So, gonna go jumping on in over there. Get themselves settled down. Comes that Oracle. So Oracle moving in. It's a fast Raven from INnoVation. That doesn't really help against the Oracle, of course. There's a few Marines from the main come down. That's 2 SCVs already. It's really not a bad start. Oracle stays active as it goes hunting in the main base. There's a Widow Mine. And it's in the mineral line, which is where INnoVation goes and stacks up his workers too, trying to bait that Oracle in, but it will not be baited. It refuses to be, as the Oracle gets back up that left-hand side. Cyclone is already building from INnoVation. The Oracle coming through. Two extra racks will just drop straight down from INnoVation, so just going to go straight to 3 racks. It is after a 3rd CC though, so INnoVation at the very least will go to 3 bases. Now, whether he makes use of that 3 base, we obviously have seen quite a few 3 base and then just SCV pull builds from Inno lately. That's absolutely a possibility here as well. Remember, Game 5, final map of the series. This is an elimination match. You lose this and you are gone. Like, we'll see you in the next event. I wonder if this gets top 4. Has to play trap for top 3, and then either Rain or Cyril in the lower bracket finals, then the other one in the grand finals if you get that far. The extra Stalkers do warp in, and Zest's push makes its way down to the bottom left of the map. So here we go. Plenty of Stalkers here from Zest. To the bottom left-hand side, maybe thinking about a blink up into the main. So wouldn't mind that to start, and that's going to kill one Stalker. Do you still really want to blink up into this? I wouldn't think so. Tank there, Cyclone, a lot of Marines there. This isn't happening, is it? It's Zest. Still sitting in the center still. Robo on that third base, and these Stalkers still thinking about what they want to do. Bunker's going to salvage up. Things come out. Oh, the Raven goes too far, and that's a dead Raven. INnoVation not going to be happy with that. The Raven is obviously a huge unit to have, and obviously, you know, if there was DTs, that's going to be more problematic, but obviously just going across the map, it gives you some huge abilities. So missing out on the Raven is a big deal, as that's just INnoVation miscontrolling while fighting to take its third base, and Zest benefiting from the Stalker pressure he's applying at the front. Zest has just taken these extra gases, so it should be moving in toward a Temple Archive soon, and there it is. So ready to start making his way in toward that storm off this very heavy Zealot Stalker force. As all these upgrades finish up now from INnoVation, can he find a way to do anything with that? I feel like these Stalkers might just slow him down too much in any attempt to get across the map. Oracle around that left-hand side. Stalker's moving over. A bit of a fight here as the bio starts off. Stays toward in the back of the mineral line. First SCV already being caught. Stalkers still trying to fight. He actually loses a few Stalkers. Says hello, Blink. Wow, that was not something you meant to commit to that heavily, that's for sure. Was not quite how things were meant to be. One moves out down through the center. Zealot, Stalker, and Immortal as well, all coming across. That's looking to be the one applying the pressure. I mean, INnoVation's playing a very defensive tank-based style, right? So INnoVation playing without really allowing Zest in. And so it kind of says to Zest, you know, you're not allowed to come and break me down or anything. You kind of got to play a longer game. So INnoVation's going to make a bid for fourth base. Zest is already up and running. And Zest will start to make those late-game preparations. Dark Shrine for that DT, Zealot harassment. That's going to be the first step of this, apparently. The Vikings come over, gonna find. Hey, this is the High Templar all in the prism. Oh, only one High Templar dies. As the storms start to drop, the Vikings will chase. He should be able to kill one of these HT. Oh, nice. Oh, nice Archon morph, and actually gonna save it with the storm as well. That was a nice crisis management moment from Zest, but still big from INnoVation. Catching the prism. I was just floating bottom side of his bottom side of the map. It's big. Some SCVs will move along to the left side. Zealots to the far left. Just going to see Zest moving up to the top. And, well, we're finally getting a game that might comfortably move past that 11-minute marker, guys. We haven't really seen a game in this series go to that sort of depth just yet, but we're starting to get there. Starting to get there. Shadow Stride on the Dark Shrine. It's an important investment into this as well. +3 attack and the +1 armor. From that double forge. INnoVation making a bid for the center of the map. Actually scans over here. Now, this isn't his real army, right? Like, he's leaving a lot of his tanks back at home. So, INnoVation should never be really looking to take a larger fight without those siege tanks. They are a big investment, and you just can't have none of them in the fights, right? He's going to add 2 more factories, so he's going to keep going for this heavy tank style, rather than going into the other units that you might see at this stage of the game usually, in the form of ghosts and so on. So not seeing any of those. The bio army to the left then. Stargate is out and holding the watchtower. I love it. It's like it's been here this entire time. And there's INnoVation just going to hop over and clean that up. And also get the warp prism. But there's a big wave of units on the bottom that INnoVation will have to deal with. And that's, whoa, 40 NDTs I just threw up in my mouth. This is going to be disgusting. That's a blink in 2 swipe down of this command center, I'm pretty sure. He goes for SCVs first. Gets 11 of them. Yeah, he could have totally killed this base. 12 SCVs is nice. But actually, I think the command center would have just gone down. I think that would have been way better. Especially in a game where I guess this CC is about to finish, so INnoVation's only just getting to the point where you can replace those command centers easily. In terms of upgrades, Zest is finally getting some armor upgrades as well, so this army will become that little bit tankier, which is necessary. Else he might just continue to fall into a bit too much trouble here. DT is down the bottom left. Trying to see where they can go. There's a few tanks and siege off to the right. Where these, I mean, these DTs can get a tank kill. They obviously can blink across into the production lines. This stage of the game is so frustrating to play against. 2 new ghosts. Well, one of them goes down instantly. Does drop the EMPs, so the DTs are revealed, but they instantly recall. And the good news of that is that INnoVation can focus elsewhere. Zest bank is ginormous, but it's a mega drop into the main. Hey, he just used a recall, so you can't recall back home to deal with this. What a time for a drop to show up. INnoVation just needs to scan down the DT, and he's going to get a lot of production here. And it's not just on power and production. He's going to straight up kill stuff. Cybercore, second gateway, now already going down. And the army is just finally starting to show up. Can the INnoVation do anything else elsewhere? Doesn't look like it, but he will go down to this low ground. There's a lot of DTs there. Probably not somewhere you can fight. He's going to try to scan for them. It actually goes better for him than I would have initially thought it would. And then the Zealots warp in, and oh no, it's actually even more DTs. My goodness, just the DT count from Zest. The problem is that DT count, it's so expensive, and you can see the gas of Zest is really struggling. He's actually lost 15 DTs already. He's lost the same amount of DTs as he's lost Zealots. Just to kind of talk about how effective a game it was for Zest until those DTs started dying. The problem is those DTs are very inefficient in terms of what they've been trading for so far. DT's back around the bottom. It's a scan that comes in, honestly, just too late. All this Bioforce cleaned out already. And that's the issue. That's what's so powerful about these DTs. How many does Zest has 24 Dark Templar on the map. This is 24 Dark Templar. Does anyone just, like... I don't even know what's going on. 24 Dark Templar. Zest, you absolute madman. I mean, I've seen DTs running around the map, but he's running around with like 24 at once. Usually it's like 10 Zealots and like 5 or 6 DTs, maybe 7 or 8. You can go like 10. 24 blink in here. I mean... INnoVation just doesn't even try to fight it. That is 50 supply on the map, though. Right? I mean, he lost 8 DTs doing this. And that's where the questions have got to come into play, right? Is this worthwhile? Is it good enough? It's actually a real question mark right now, because I'm not sure we really have an answer to that just yet, as we do see Zealots and Archons through the middle of the map, heading down the bottom left-hand side. Yeah, it's getting a little bit stuck up there, and it's going to be a free Archon for INnoVation. Unfortunately, on the other side, guess who's back? It's all the Dark Templar. Man, they're just so difficult to get rid of because they can just blink away whenever it's, things start to get in trouble. And INnoVation just has to send so many units to deal with where they might be. And that's why this style is kind of working. That's why it's powerful. It takes so much to clean up those DTs. Are we still up on like ridiculous numbers? Oh, okay, only 21 this time, guys. Unfortunately, Zest is maxed out, so he can't make any more. Couple medivacs that were trying to drop again. Unsuccessful. They'll just sit on the top. The thing is, INnoVation is on 5 bases, fighting for base number 6. I know Zest is on 5 as well, but I feel like for INnoVation to be on 5 bases, that's kind of the difficult part, and he's achieving it quite well so far. Big EMP is over this army, but here come the DTs on the other side. All the goats are going down. Oh my god. The DTs just make this a completely different fight. Man, look how much Zest was about to lose. He was about to lose the Archons, the Immortal. All these Stalkers were about to die. That's a huge loss. I don't know what happened to these medivacs here, by the way. It looks like they might have just flown into the Stalkers and gone down. DTs are showing up on the left side, but they will get cleaned out at least. EMP to help out with that. Still a lot of DTs on the right side. Both players down to 160 supply. So much money in the bank for Zest, though. Even if he just rebuilds pure Zealots, it's going to be terrifying for INnoVation to deal with. Resources lost, still only a 2k difference. Zest has just been mining that much more, so maybe INnoVation just isn't quite trading well enough or having enough eco up to really deal with this sort of pressure. GT's blink straight in, that's a dead planetary fortress, and I think this is becoming unmanageable here from INnoVation. Now the huge warp-ins of Zealots are starting to run in, and there's just DTs everywhere. Well, INnoVation kind of flanks in, and he will catch a lot of this army. DTs are going to make a blink out of there too. Reinforced with more Stalkers. There's just no stopping the Zealots, which have ran up into the main, and Zest still has 7,000 minerals in the bank. I think we're about to say goodbye to our final Terran player of the tournament. INnoVation try to give us some Terran hope. The Wardy bias shows. But in the end, Zest, I mean, I don't know what to say about how he played this series. I don't know if I want to say he played well or if he just played with a lot of DTs. But whatever he did, it worked. I say it worked. You know, he's on 36 army supply. He does have some gas to spend. He has been losing a lot the last few moments. That's actually kind of a big deal. You got to be a little bit careful here. INnoVation still is holding on with potentially 5 bases. Okay, I mean, Zest lost a lot of army supply, and that's what's making me slow down and think twice about what I'm saying. 16 gates, so again, you can warp in a lot of units, but it is just gateway units. Unless you're going to thoroughly overwhelm INnoVation, gate units don't trade well. And the thing is, you're not overwhelming INnoVation because INnoVation's got an army supply lead at the moment, so you're going to need a few more warp-in rounds before that's okay. Hold the line. We might actually have some hope still from INnoVation. It's going to be this fight here. The DTs got running in. The EMP's on them. The DTs go down pretty quickly. Can he get rid of the Zealots is the next question. INnoVation has to move so much of his army from the right side to the left side to truly be able to fight this, and that's the issue. He loses 17 SCVs, so his economy takes another big hit, and those are hits which, can he really afford them? Well, I don't think he can. Zest is still running forward into this with pure Zealot Stalker, though, right? And that's still why I get a little bit concerned. He's killed 30 SCVs, though. It's another big hit to INnoVation's economy. INnoVation just didn't know where the next big strike was coming from, so he couldn't be where he really needed to be right away. He sees that prison perhaps peeling the way to the left side as Zest will go for another round of aggression. And look, I mean, again, what do you really do at this stage? Well, hit some good EMPs, you clean up that warp prism. He still has an army supply lead until Zest actually spends that money. And Zest is still just sat there banking up for the moment. A lot more Marauders, a lot more Marines coming through. INnoVation is playing pretty much just pure bio, though. And that was okay when he had a lot more ghosts, but now there's only 4 ghosts as well. And with 16 gateways, you can warp in so much every single time as Zest. That's just going to recall, I think, his prison back home. I mean, this gives INnoVation some time, though. INnoVation's mining off this forward base. It's just the work account isn't what he needs it to be. You maybe move his orbital down here. The problem is if you move in orbitals around, you're already having trouble holding on to planetary fortresses, never mind an orbital command. It is just a massive gateway units from Zest. 32 Zealots and 19 Stalkers. Actually backed up by a few High Templar, and I like that. because INnoVation's very bio-heavy as well now. So the Storms actually are a really good addition. And again, INnoVation is out of position as Zest will take the right side planetary. EMP's starting to come down, trying to cover where the Storms are going to land from. And the Storm's doing a good job to buy a bit of time. There's one more INnoVation. Is there any way to fight that amount of Zealots? He only has a couple of EMPs really left over as well. Might catch the sentries, but the War Prism could also save them. Stalkers helping to buy some time. Here he goes. That's going to commit to this fight. He's got some Zealots coming in from the backside as well. If there was ever a time for INnoVation to make something happen, it would be to clean up this army some way, somehow, and then maybe turn it all around, but it will not happen, and the final Terran of the Douyu Cup will fall. INnoVation will be out of here, and that is GG's. Zest is going to take it down 3-2, and Zest will advance to play Trap in the 4th place, or the top 4 match. And then, of course, we've also got Reyna and Cyril still in the winner bracket as well. It's a Protoss and Zerg affair, as Terran has fallen in the form of INnoVation.